Good morning, go-getters. Today's Tuesday. We're gonna call it Talk About It Tuesday. My name is Malik Branch, and I'm one of the three co-founders of the Go-Getters Club. You can find us on Instagram at the Go-Getters Club, and follow us and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Go-Getters Club. So today, I wanted to talk to you guys about criticism versus feedback. So one of the things that we find is in the journey towards achieving your goals, you are always going to need to do one of two things. You're going to need to write your goals down, which is essential. You write your goals down, and then you also need to have an accountability partner, someone who you tell your goals to and your plan, and they help hold you accountable. We all know when you're searching for goals and you're chasing your goals and you're trying to achieve your goals, there's a vulnerability that comes with that, because what happens is you've decided that there's something in your life that you're doing or that's happening that you no longer want to happen. There's something that you'd like to make a change to, and that requires some self-reflection and then therefore some vulnerability. So it requires that there's somebody you trust when you come to them and when you ask them to hold you accountable, because it's also going to require some feedback. And feedback is something that doesn't always feel so good. It doesn't always feel warm and fuzzy, but it's always very necessary. So we talk about it, and we talk to our members and say, when you're meeting with other women and you have these goals and you have your accountability partners, it's important that you give feedback, and it's important that you're able to receive feedback. That's one of the biggest things we discuss in every Go-Getters gathering, is that you have to be able to receive feedback. But I want to talk a little bit about the difference between feedback and criticism. So every once in a while, you'll be going through something and you do need some feedback, and you'll go and you'll speak to someone who you trust, and it should always be someone who you trust and someone who you know has your best interest. And you can go to them and say, this is the journey that I'm on. I'm seeking to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking for some feedback. Or that person may come to you as your accountability partner and say, you know what? I think I have some feedback for you. You said you're going to lose weight, and I know you've told me about things you've been eating, and maybe you should change some of these carbs out for some vegetables. Or maybe, you told me that you're looking to save some money, so maybe what you should do is start packing your lunch instead of eating out every day. That could probably save you. That's considered feedback. But then there are times when a person can come to you, and what the tone that you get from them makes, instead of you getting feedback, you're getting criticism. And the difference between feedback is that feedback makes you think. You may not exactly take exactly what the person says, because we're not robots, we're not drones. We all should take things and interpret them the way that best works for us. But there's a difference. You feel after you've been given feedback, it makes you think, you consider it. You say to yourself, maybe I can add that, maybe I can take that. You kind of go and do some self-reflection. But when you're talking about getting criticism, after someone criticizes you, what you feel is you feel like shit. You don't feel good. You don't feel like a good version of yourself. You don't feel empowered. You don't feel uplifted. You just kind of feel like shit. You feel like the person didn't help you. You feel like they hurt you. You feel set back. You feel annoyed. You feel frustrated. You want to lash out. Like, all these things happen. And these are natural reactions to criticism versus feedback. And it's also for the person who is going to give the feedback. It's always very important to make sure that the space that you're in, when you're talking to someone who is in pursuit of their goals and they're asking for or seeking your counsel or your feedback, is that you yourself are in a good place. So oftentimes, we're all living our own lives and we're all doing our own things. And with family, friends, and everyone involved, we all have moments for which we are ourselves overwhelmed. And with the greatest of intentions, you can go from being a person who's giving feedback to a person who's straight giving criticism. So if you woke up today and you stepped on the scale and it's not going in the direction you want, and your bills is a little behind, and your husband's giving you a problem, and your kids are stressing you out, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, when a person comes to you for some feedback, you may want to consider that you're not in a good place to give it. And that's part about being self-reflective. That's the part about being able to look into yourself and understand who you are and where you are, so that you don't take your bad day and turn it into something that ruins or inhibits or hurts another person's journey. Because part of this thing about having a network of women around you who help uplift you is that you have to be there to uplift each other. You can't be there tearing each other down and criticizing one another, especially when a person is looking for feedback. It's essential that you take that stock of yourself in the moment that you're in. At the same time, if you're the person who needs feedback, you got to take stock of where you are. If you're really far in your journey and you're not feeling good about yourself, you can't be there waiting and expecting to get feedback, because you may take it as criticism and then you may not feel good. So everybody has to take stock of how they feel when they're communicating with one another as we're on this journey to goal getting, because we're not here to tear each other down. We're here to uplift one another. So I would like everyone to say, kind of think about that. Think about yourself, where you are, where you're able to give feedback, and when you're able to receive it. Because an essential part of goal getting and moving along in this journey towards getting your goal is feedback. But there has to be a difference between feedback and criticism. And there has to be a difference between how you receive feedback and whether or not you translate that as to criticism. And that all has to do with where you are in your journey and where you are today. Tomorrow, you could probably hear the same thing or say the same thing and have it be a different way that it's received. And that has to do with where you are and the space that you're in. This is a positive thing we want to do for one another. We want to uplift each other. Women, we need that from one another because we don't do it enough. So think about that. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. Use uplifting words for yourself. And when you think that you're in a good place, then take that time to give people feedback and receive feedback. It's the best thing you can do. Let's talk about it today. Talk about it Tuesday.